your cell phone, your wallet, your time, your ideas. No barcode, no party, no ID, no beers. Your bank card, your license, your thoughts, your fears. No SIM card, no disco, no photo, not here. Your blood, your sweat, your passions, your regrets, your promises.
Welcome to
your
Radio
time off,
Bravery
your
Live. I'm your
fashions,
host,
your
Justin
sex,
Belshaw,
your pills,
and
your
I'm
grass,
playing one of the only songs that I own that they will let me use under the fair use in the public domain. So apparently YouTube has still blocked my video from yesterday, and they are not allowing it worldwide. So we are being censored, and I am awaiting that message back from YouTube to let me know that they put my video back up. In the meantime, I believe I have a version of it. It's called Employment Deployment, and there is, I believe, a version up that should be up now that has some audio removed at the beginning. But I own all the clips, I'm using it under fair use, and it is also in the public domain. So YouTube, put my videos back up right now, or you'll be facing legal action. That is the future of Radio Bravery. I am going to be getting a lawyer for my company, and we will be fighting any censorship that happens from now on, because this is a war on for your mind, for your freedom, and for your soul. And I don't want your soul, I want you to have your soul. I want you to be free. This is Radio Bravery Live. I'm your host, Justin Belshaw. The website is youtube.com/radiobravery, facebook.com/radiobravery, twitter.com/radiobravery, and find me on Instagram at Radio Bravery. Thank you so much for joining us. Don't go back to bed. Go ahead and keep thinking for yourself and keep waking up. Let's go ahead and jump to the fake news phenomena. I think that's what this segment's going to be called here. This is from the dailycaller.com. CNN botches major bombshell alleging contacts between Don Jr. and WikiLeaks. Uh-oh, CNN does it again. CNN misreported key details of an offer made to Donald Trump Jr. last year of a batch of stolen WikiLeaks documents. The story, which CNN published on Friday and covered extensively on TV, was touted as the first evidence that the Trump campaign was given a heads up about documents stolen from the Democrats. But the story appears to have been riddled with errors, while also lacking key context. Perhaps the most jarring error in the CNN report is the date on which the members of the Trump organization, including Donald Trump and Donald Trump Jr., were sent the email. The network reported that a person named Mike Erickson sent the email on September 4th, 2016, with a link to WikiLeaks documents as well as decryption key to access them. The email also offered access to emails that had been stolen from former Secretary of State Colin Powell, according to CNN, but a copy of the email provided to the Daily Caller shows that Erickson sent the email on September 14th. Uh-oh, not the 4th, you dummies. This is just cheap journalism, cheap fake news. That date is significant because WikiLeaks provided a link to the batch of stolen documents on September 13th, the day before, so they were already made public. The group touted the release of the documents, which were stolen from the DMC and published by Guccifer 2.0. And don't make me remind you how I covered Guccifer's letter from prison, talking about how there are pedophile elites in charge and Satanist pedophile elites in charge of the world. That's what Guccifer said, and he's the guy who hacked inside the DNC. Yeah, that's what he found. That's what he found. Satanist pedophiles running everything. Weird, very weird. But let's look at this one. This is another one from the Daily Caller as they jump on this bandwagon of that story to add to 7 times CNN botched the news in 2017. Comey test. I'm not even going to go over the. You go to the dailycaller.com and look at these examples for yourself and find the proof yourself. Do your own research. I don't have to do everything for you. Come on. So I'll just go over the 7 different botched news stories that CNN, the fake news headquarters, the Clinton News Network, botched in 2017. They botched the Comey testimony story. They botched the Scaramucci story. CNN smears Scaramucci. CNN spreads fake news about fake news. Republican donor did not fund the dossier. fake fish news, and Trump is not ignorant of Japanese cars, and CNN botches another bombshell. Those are 7 different stories that CNN has fucked up this year. So it's pretty incredible that that people still trust this Clinton news network, this corrupt crime news network. But yeah, apparently they are still around and still pushing fake news. Then we got this one from Infowars.com. Come on, here's how CBS News spelled correction after pushing hashtag fake news about Donald Trump. So CNN published this tweet, CBS, excuse me, published this tweet first. New, Donald Trump Jr. was offered access to hack Democratic data during campaign. A source who received the email in question tells CBS News there were about 20 people CC'd on the email. Then, later, which was, let's see, 11:45, and it's about an hour later, so less than an hour later, about 45 minutes later, CBS News tweets again, the same tweet. New, Donald Trump Jr. was offered access to hack Democratic data during campaign. A source who received the email in question tells CBS News there were about 20 people CC'd on the email. Then they say more, colon. The September email to Donald Trump Jr. highlighted information was already public. Come on. They can't even do an actual retraction. They can't even admit when they're wrong. They just say, "Oh, more reports have come out that it was public." Whoops. Oh, you stupid, pathetic losers. No one trusts you. No one listens to you. Oh my gosh, so funny. Then we got this one from the Washington Examiner. Trump, watch and see if CNN fires reporters behind botched WikiLeaks story. Donald Trump tweeted out earlier today dude, this guy is incredible. He's up at 5 a.m. tweeting. He's up sometimes at 4 a.m. or 3:30 in the morning. And I've been getting about as much sleep as President Trump lately, and it is rough, folks. It is hard getting 4 or 5 hours of sleep a night. But that's what this guy does. He is up working for the country all day and night long. He sleeps 4 hours a night on average, and he's up at 5 a.m. tweeting things like this. Fake news CNN made a vicious and purposeful mistake yesterday. They were caught red-handed, just like Brian Ross, just like lonely Brian Ross at ABC News, who should be immediately fired for his mistake. Watch to see if CNN fires those responsible, or is it just gross incompetence? Then he says after that, then he says after that, CNN's slogan is CNN, the most trusted name in news. Everyone knows this is not true, that this could in fact be a fraud on the American public. There are many outlets that are far more trusted than fake news CNN. Their slogan should be CNN, the least trusted name in the news. Absolutely, absolutely. I love Donald Trump's tweets. I love them. And I don't care what anybody says, I absolutely enjoy Donald Trump's tweets. Now, here is a short clip from Paul Joseph, here's a short clip from Mark Dice with Liberal Lunatics, and this is a reporter trying to ask Trump about Michael Flynn and the Russia investigation. Let's see what Trump has to say back.
Thinks about Michael Flynn pleaded guilty to lying to the FBI. The same lie, by the way, that Michael Flynn told the Trump administration, which, when they found out, they fired him just a few weeks on the job as their national security advisor. And in case you didn't know, Michael Flynn lied about not calling the Russian ambassador after the election, which wasn't the crime, but lying to the FBI about the non-crime was a crime, so he basically is committed, as Alan Dershowitz says, political jaywalking, and is now a felon.
Well, I feel badly for General Flynn. I feel very badly. He's led a
very strong life, and I feel very badly, John. I will say this. Hillary Clinton lied many times to the FBI. Nothing happened to her. Flynn lied, and they destroyed his life. I think it's a shame. Hillary Clinton, on the 4th of July weekend, went to the FBI, not under oath. It was the most incredible thing anyone's ever seen. She lied many times. Nothing happened to her. Flynn lied, and it's like they ruined his life. It's very unfair. Thank you very much.
Absolutely, absolutely. It is very unfair the way that there's a constant, daily, even by the minute, double standard from one side to the other. I don't understand why the left or the Democratic Party, the left, the extreme left, they can't ever take responsibility ever for anything they do ever. They just want to blame it all on us, all on you, all on the American people, all on the president. Oh, he's the racist. He's the racist. So let's move forward to some more news about the absolute piece of scum, filth, swamp shit, Bryan Singer, who I talked about 3 or 4 years ago on this show. I've been talking about Bryan Singer being a pedophile scumbag for at least 3 years. And look at now, looky. Oh, buddy. Oh, Bryan. Looks like you're going to be going to prison, I think. We've got this one from Deadline.com. Sex, drugs, glamour, emptiness. Bryan Singer's teen ex-lover bears all about life in director's orbit. Whoa. Turns out Mark Collins' rector is involved too, and Mark Collins' rectal raper is what I like to call him. That guy is the guy who started Den, Digital Entertainment Network, that was procuring boys for people like Bryan Singer and bringing them to them. I learned about that in Amy Berg's 2004 documentary, An Open Secret, which I urge everyone to go see. One of the most incredible knowledge-breaking movies or documentaries you will ever see in your life. I urge everyone to go out there and see that. You can see it on Vimeo because YouTube just so happens to be blocking it, just like they're blocking any real news or real information that might help people, because YouTube just only likes to have pedophiles on their channel, apparently. They like to have pedophiles watching all the little kid videos. That's why they lost $200 million in sales, or in ad revenue. Yeah, that's a little troubling, huh? But then you got this one, more about Bryan Singer. It's just coming out more and more every day. This pedophile scumbag. Exclusive, Mr. Robot actor Rami Malek may take legal action against ex-Bohemian Rhapsody director Bryan Singer. Uh-oh, looks like you're gonna be going to prison, and he'll, he might like it there, but I don't know, this guy, pedophiles just deserve the death sentence. So let's move forward, because I hate talking about that sick child rapist, pedophile, scum, dirt, dog shit piece of garbage, Bryan Singer. Bryan Singer, go to prison already. Go to prison. You are a child rapist, a pedophile, and a sick son of a bitch. Now let's go to the HollywoodReporter.com. Charlie Sheen sues National Enquirer over defamation for Corey Haim allegation. Sheen says the tabloid's editor published the claims because he's angry that he didn't break the story that the actor is HIV positive. The editor of the National Enquirer, defendant Dylan Howard, is running the story against Mr. Sheen because of a personal vendetta that arose after he was unable to first break the story that Mr. Sheen was HIV positive. Sheen says the cruel and malicious stories are especially offensive because he has 5 children who are around the same age Haim was then. We look forward to litigating against Charlie Sheen and can't wait to expose his depravities in the court of law, says an AMI spokesperson. The November 8th story alleges Charlie Sheen sexually abused Haim, pushing him down a drug-fueled path to an early grave. And that is pretty fucked up to say something like that to someone who has been a part of being a victim of sexual abuse and molestation. And I don't know too much about the honesty behind this claim, but the fact that Charlie Sheen is suing him probably says that there's not much proof of something like that. So I've never heard any story ever of Charlie Sheen being with children or boys or anything like that. So this is pretty sickening that the National Enquirer would write something like that, especially about a dead boy. But moving forward, here's another article from The Guardian. Little divide and conqueror in rap, Pharrell, has a new album, and he has got a real nice quote in it that says, "It rains and they shoot black people. It rains and they shoot black people. It rains and they shoot black people. It rains and they shoot black people." Oh man, that's so artistic, and just, man, how long did it take you to write that, buddy? Like, you're just a influential soul in music. Man, Pharrell, dude, you're deep, bro. I can't even believe it, dog. You're freaking so cool, dude. Like, yeah, it rains and they shoot black people. Are you the stupidest person that's ever rapped? I mean, probably not, because I'm pretty sure Jay-Z already takes that award. But are you kidding me right now? These are the kind of idiotic things that stupid rappers in the stupid idiot world are saying. It rains and they shoot black people. Let me click on this Wikipedia right here. It doesn't rain and they shoot white people, illegal immigrants. This is the story of Catherine Steinel, the 32-year-old woman who was walking with her father along Pier 14 in Embarcadero district of San Francisco and was shot by Jose Inez Garcia Zarate. He initially claimed that he fired at a sea lion. Oh, yeah, he picked up a gun that he found on the ground and he fired it at a sea lion. Oh, then he said no, it was wrapped up in a towel and it accidentally fired off. Oh, whoa, whoopsie. Pew, pew. Yeah, because guns shoot themselves. Pew, 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 pew. Just pick it up and pew. Yeah, that's what happens, yeah. No, illegal immigrants are killing white people and killing innocent people, innocent women. 32-year-old woman, Catherine Steinel, that's who's being shot, not you stupid idiot rappers. So shut the hell up, Pharrell. This poor woman deserves justice, and we got idiots like Pharrell out there whining and crying that it rains and black people are shot. Shut the hell up. It's disgusting. There are actual people out there who need help, and that you could be helping with your millions of dollars, you piece of garbage, Pharrell. Ugh, God. Let's move forward. Dylan Farrell, Woody Allen's accuser, says hashtag Me Too movement is selective, quote. Really? That's very interesting. We've heard that before, and I was very troubled when I went over the Time magazine cover, and I told you I was kind of weirded out that Ashley Judd's on the cover, and it's very picked out who the Me Too movement is. Women of the Year, the Me Too, the accusers. They're the person of the years, the accusers. How'd they pick those people? Well, it is selective, and that is a fact, because you can look at this Washington Times article right here, where Juanita Broderick, who was raped by Bill Clinton, actually raped by Bill Clinton, Juanita Broderick rips Times silence breakers snub. I didn't fit into their liberal victim mold. Yeah, they wouldn't let Juanita Broderick on the cover. No, even though she was one of the first people to break silence and to say that Bill Clinton is a rapist. Bill Clinton is a rapist. And Juanita Broderick will not stay quiet regarding Time Magazine's silence breakers piece on the hashtag Me Too movement. Time featured a slew of famous faces for its annual Person of the Year issue. Those who bring awareness to sexual assault collectively captured the distinction, but Miss Broderick says her contributions were conspicuously left out. The woman who has maintained for decades that former president, and look at all these accusers. Look at Roy Moore, accuser now, just came out yesterday. She forged the yearbook edition in the yearbook, so she's lying about it, manipulating about it for decades, for over 24 years. Juanita Broderick has been saying the exact same story about how former President Bill Clinton raped her in Arkansas when she was 35 years old. She was raped. She has contained the exact same story for decades, and no one has found a flaw or a lie or a manipulation in that story ever. Ever. But she is not allowed on the hashtag MeToo movement. No. They do not want a real rape victim on there who actually was raped by someone like Bill Clinton, who's one of the biggest, most powerful people in the world. No. Time Magazine is a fake. Time Magazine is using these women to try and, promote some kind of agenda that they've got going. Anti-man, probably. But no, they cannot have Miss Juanita Broderick, who was actually raped, who deserves to be heard, who has been telling the same story for decades. No, she's 74 years old, and she's still out there fighting, trying to get this piece of garbage rapist, Bill Clinton, in prison. But they can't give her a cover. They can't give her a word in. They can't even let her in because she didn't fit into the liberal victim mold. Aw, yeah. F you, Time Magazine. Ugh, it's so disgusting. This is what Juanita Broderick tweeted out. Time Magazine asked to interview me regarding hashtag MeToo movement. The comments I gave were deemed of no value. I'd like to know why. Could it be I didn't fit into their liberal victim mold at Time Magazine? Could it be Time Magazine? What's wrong with you? Are you bought and paid for by the Clinton Foundation? What is it? Why don't you tell us? Why don't you tell us why Miss Juanita Broderick doesn't have a chance to speak? Because she's important to me, and I want to hear her, and I want her to have justice. But apparently Time Magazine does not. Disgusting. Let's go to this next one. Trump Mattis turned military loose on ISIS, leaving terror caliphate in tatters. We might have to cut this show a little short because I do have to go to my day job pretty soon. But I'm going to jump to this one. This is from Associated Press, APnews.com. Prime Minister of Iraq announces on state TV Iraq's war against ISIS has ended. Okay, now that is actually hearing it for once from the leader of Iraq. Okay, now let's jump to this video where Barack Obama claimed numerous times that he had already ended the war in Iraq. Let's see this. Joke. The Obama nation.
For the first time
liar.
In 9 years, there are no Americans fighting in Iraq. 4 years ago, I promised to end the war in Iraq. We did. 4 years ago, I promised to end the war in Iraq. I did. Now, 4 years ago, I promised to end the war in Iraq, and I did.
Liar.
I told you we'd end the war in Iraq. We did.
Liar.
I said we'd end the Iraq war. We did. I told you I'd end the war in Iraq.
Liar.
And we did. I ended the war in Iraq as I promised. In 2008, I promised we'd end the war in Iraq.
Yep, you did not. And now, today, the Prime Minister of Iraq announces Iraq's war is ended, and Trump Mattis turned military loose on ISIS, leaving terror caliphate in tatters. Thank you, Trump, for actually ending the war in Iraq. Shut up, Obama. You are done. Let's go ahead and... let's see what I can get to really quick here in the next couple minutes. Here's the NavyTimes.com. Sailor staged racist vandalism, Navy says. Oh, and just another story of Marky Little, a 27-year-old African-American seaman, posted photos on Facebook November 15th under an alias that showed his rack on the carrier George H.W. Bush covered in trash and racial slurs. I proudly serve the Navy, and this is what I'm receiving in return. Oh, yeah, you fucking liar. So yeah, but on Friday, Commander Dave Heck, the spokesman for the Naval Air Force Atlantic, said a thorough investigation conducted in the Naval Criminal Investigative Service found inconsistencies in the sailor's account. The NCIS supported command investigation following claims of racially motivated vandalism aboard the carrier has determined that the alleged victim staged the incident himself. And we hear numerous stories like this going on. People trying to jump on the victim mentality, trying to be victim crybabies and whine to get what they want. It's not going to work anymore. We don't believe you, and we are we only want the truth, okay? You can't manipulate your way into power or the headlines anymore. Then we got this one from Sarah Silverman. This is from the Washington Times again. Sarah Silverman recalls being scared, shaken when boyfriend flew U.S. flag. I was freaking out. Oh my God. I got American flag right there. Shaken. Yeah, that's called unpatriotic scum, Sarah Silverman. That's what you are. Comedian Sarah Silverman addressed the topic of American nationalism during a monologue on her Hulu talk show Thursday night, describing a visceral reaction and fear she felt when an old boyfriend of hers hoisted an American flag on his own property. Oh my God. Oh my God. Yeah, that's called unpatriotic, non-patriotism, okay? I don't know why you hate this country so much, Sarah Silverman, but it's given you a lot. You should be very, very grateful. You are very privileged, a lot more privileged than me, and it's not white privilege. It's called green privilege. Now here's another one from the Weekly Standard. The war on Christmas parties, that is. I'm not even going to go into this. Vox Media is changing their party. All kinds of places are not able to celebrate holiday parties anymore. Go and read that article for yourself at theweeklystandard.com. The war on Christmas parties, that is the headline at theweeklystandard.com. And let's see here. The last video I'm going to play for you on this edition of Radio Bravery Live is a video from Paul Joseph Watson. It's entitled The Truth About Jerusalem, and it is extremely informative. I learned a lot about from this video that I didn't actually know, because I really wasn't very well versed on the whole Jerusalem, Tel Aviv, U.S. Embassy situation. But Paul Joseph Watson, always on point, always one of the best journalists out there today. And here is Paul breaking down the truth about Jerusalem. And again, this is Radio Bravery Live. I'm your host, Justin Belshaw, and I've got to scramble off to my day job after this. So thank you so much for joining me. This is Paul Joseph Watson breaking down the truth about Jerusalem.
International outrage by recognizing Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. Who would do such a thing?
Jerusalem is still the capital of Israel and must remain an undivided city, accessible to all.
As soon as I take office, I will begin the process of moving the United States ambassador to the city of Israel, as chosen as its capital.
I continue to say that Jerusalem will be the capital of Israel, and I have said that before, and I will say it again. And Jerusalem will remain the capital of Israel.
Oh, but why is Trump doing this now? Why is he inflaming the Middle East and provoking an explosion of violence? Whoa. Why would Muslims resort to violence? As we all know by now, Islam is a religion of peace. I mean, it's impossible. I don't understand. You're saying Muslims have so little control over their actions, they're just gonna flip out like animals. Sounds pretty Islamophobic to me. And I mean, it's not as if they're setting fire to their own neighborhoods and violently attacking Jewish restaurants. Firing rockets into Israel. It's not like the leader of Hamas called for peace to be abandoned and for Palestinians to launch an uprising. It's not like the head of Hamas in Gaza literally called for terrorism. Islam's a religion of peace. That's impossible. It's not happening. These are reasonable people. It's not like they were massacring Jews in Jerusalem 20 years before Israel even existed. It's not like they've repeatedly called for Israel to be wiped from the pages of history. That's never happened. It's not like the Palestinian Authority still refuses to acknowledge Israel's right to even exist. It's not like Muslims have launched violence against Jews for the sin of visiting Jewish holy sites for decades. It's not like Muslims used gravestones from Jewish cemeteries to pave their roads. None of that happened. These are reasonable people. There's no history whatsoever of them turning violent, and if they ever did, it could only be Donald Trump's fault. Not because they're anti-Semites who just hate Jewish people, They're reasonable. Also, Trump recognizing Jerusalem as the capital of Israel is so reckless, it's unprecedented. It's not like Congress passed a law 22 years ago called the Jerusalem Embassy Act, which described Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. Oh, it did. It's not like the US Senate voted 90-0 that Jerusalem should remain the undivided capital of Israel just 6 months ago. Oh, it did. It's not like Bill Clinton came into office supporting the declaration of Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. Oh, he did. Yeah, but it's not like George W. Bush promised to move the US Embassy to Jerusalem. Oh, he did. But Trump's bad anyway, because he's following through on his promise. That's bad. I mean, CNN literally says he's bad for keeping his promises, so I guess it must be true. Also, doesn't this just prove everyone right who said that Trump was a Nazi and literally Hitler?
It is time to officially recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel.
Trump's bending over backwards to please Zionists and Jews, just like Hitler did. Yeah, anyway, here's a list of groups and people furious at Trump's decision to move the embassy to Jerusalem. Turkey's Islamist President Erdogan, Saudi King Salman bin Abdulaziz, ISIS, Hamas, globalist political leaders, virtually the entire political left, the mainstream media.
Totally erratic decision by this president.
And Muslims in general. Hashtag not all Muslims. What an upstanding alliance. I'm so proud to be a part of it. Erdogan was right when he accused Trump of throwing the region into a ring of fire, and he'd know all about that, having covertly provided direct military, financial and logistical support to ISIS for years. But what Trump's done is beyond insane. He's playing with fire. Hamas has threatened to open the gates of hell because they've never done that before. Oh, but aside from all that, how stupid is it that Jerusalem could be considered the capital of Israel? It's not like Israel won a war or something to secure exactly that. It's not like Jerusalem is where the Prime Minister of Israel lives. It's not like Jerusalem is where all their government agencies are based. It's not like Jerusalem is where their parliament sits. It's not like Jerusalem was the capital of the Kingdom of Israel, the site of the temple and the wellspring of Judaic thought for millennia. None of that is true. Islam is a religion of peace, and if any violence happens, it's Donald Trump's fault.
And that was Paul Joseph Watson's video, The Truth About Jerusalem. I'm your host, Justin Belshaw. Thank you so much for joining me. Got to run to my day job now and get that going. So I will be back tomorrow with another live show. And I'll see you again soon. Thank you so much. And I love you.